everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in to talk about Monique and Oprah and what I feel is the real story behind what went on with them. Now, y'all know about a week or so ago, Monique did a stand-up comedy routine where basically she told Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and Oprah to suck her dick. And she got a lot of backlash from that. A lot of people were saying that Monique should apologize. And Monique did an interview, a podcast, basically, her and her husband. And she explained what went down between her and Oprah and why she felt that she should not apologize. Now, y'all, let me just talk to you about the interview that Oprah did with Monique's brother and her parents. Now, this interview that Oprah did, it all was about the molestation of Monique. Now, in the interview, Oprah spoke to Monique's brother. His name is Gerald Imes, and she gave him a chance to talk about what went on between him and Monique. Now, let me just tell y'all, this interview occurred prior to Oprah getting the OWN network and all of that. So she didn't have all this. She was still doing her talk show on television. And on that show, she had Monique's brother and Monique's parents. And I actually watched the show. I remember my mother calling me, telling me, the show is going to be on. You might want to watch this and blah, blah, blah. So, y'all, when I watched the show, what came out is that Monique's brother molested her starting at the age of 7. At the time, he was 13 years old. Now, this interview that he did with Oprah was 37 years later, where he wanted to apologize to Monique. Now, Monique wasn't feeling it. She refused to be on the show. She felt like maybe her brother was just doing this because, she had won that award for Precious. And in this podcast that Monique did a few days ago, she talked about how Oprah called her and advised her that she was going to have her brother on the show. Monique told Oprah she didn't want any parts of it. And in that conversation they had, Monique says that they talked about a lot of things. Monique explained to her that she was going through it with her family. And, Oprah and Monique kind of commiserated over what had occurred to both of them when they were little, being molested by a family member. Now, when I watched this interview on Oprah years ago, this interview that Oprah did was in 2010. It was April 19th. I'm going to include a small clip of her brother on the show. It'll be down in the description box. Now, from the interview that Oprah did with Monique's brother, he explained and the family explained that after Monique went to her parents and told them, what was going on. At the time when Monique told, she was 15 years old. And after she told, her brother was sent away for about 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, he came back and the family acted like nothing happened. Now, y'all got to think. This man had been molesting his little sister, who was 7 years old. And she didn't tell until she was 15. So all of this was going on, with him molesting her for all those years. Now, when I watched the show, to me, it seemed like that the family was more angry that Monique had put it out into the public that she was molested. It seemed like they were almost trying to protect not only the brother's reputation, but the reputation of the family. And then in that interview, if I remember correctly, he admitted that he had raped someone else. And he actually did time for molestation. Now, remember, Monique, all of her life, has referred to her brother as a monster. And y'all, if he molested someone else, then he was was a pedophile. And his victim, well, one of the first victims was Monique. And because Monique told her family, and after she told them, they acted like, nothing really happened. And not only that, they protected her brother more than what they protected her. It was like they were mad at her for putting this out, and even said on Oprah's show that they wanted to keep it in the family and handle it as a family. Well, damn it, they didn't handle it as a family, because when Monique came to them and told them, what happened, they kind of pushed it under the rug like it was a family secret. And you got to think, Monique suffered all those years, and then after she told, she wasn't believed. I don't blame Monique. So basically, what Monique told Oprah is, I'm having it bad with my family. I'm actually not speaking to my mother. And another thing Monique said in that podcast is Oprah never told her that when she was going to interview her brother, that Oprah's parents were going to be on there. And that pissed Monique off. Can you imagine, like, Monique considered Oprah a friend, and for Oprah to underhandedly have the family on, that was something else. The parents and other family members, and then try to act like she didn't know that they were coming. That was some bullshit, because when they do those shows, those talk shows, they fly those guests in. Oprah had the family in the audience. She had questions for the family. That was not a surprise to her. And if it was a surprise that the rest of the family members showed up, because remember, she only told only told Monique that she was going to interview her brother. So Oprah's story is, look, I didn't know your parents were coming. I didn't know these other people were coming. It was a surprise to me. But if it was a surprise, why didn't she pick up the phone and call Monique and say, hey, look, I booked an interview with your brother, but now I'm understanding that your mother's coming and some other family members. Are you okay with that? Why didn't she pick up the phone and call Monique and tell Monique that? If they had had a conversation about this whole interview. See, with this situation, y'all, Oprah was doing it for the ratings. Oprah got a hold to a story. The story was juicy. Monique's brother, he had called her and told her he wanted to be on the show. And Oprah was like, oh, this is going to be good. And then I got the parents too. And I got family members. That was going to be a good show. Y'all, if you would have watched the show, and it was a part in the show where Oprah asked the parents, did you believe Monique when she came and told you? And if you would have saw the expression on the parents' face, it's almost like they didn't expect Oprah to ask them that question, which I don't even know why they didn't. But when I watched the show, I felt like just put it this way. I came away feeling like Monique was never protected when it came to what happened to her being molested. The family was more intent on protecting her brother, and her parents came off as enablers. They did not want to admit that one of their children, their son Gerald, had started molesting his little sister at 7 years old. So when recently Monique did that whole stand-up and she blasted Oprah too, I can understand why Monique blasted Oprah. Because Monique thought that her and Oprah had at least this bond. Look, I told you what happened to my family, Oprah. I told you what went on. I told you, how me and my mother don't have a good relationship after what happened to me, after me telling, after them treating him better than what they treated me. And then you go and have my whole family on your show. Can you imagine how Monique felt? Can you imagine how she felt? It wasn't the embarrassment that her story was out because Monique put it out. Monique had been telling everybody for years that she had been molested by her brother. But what Monique didn't want is for her parents to be paraded across the television. She did not want her family members to get on Oprah and get some, their 15 minutes of fame, because y'all, when you watch the show, you come away feeling like the family did this for publicity for them. That if they really truly cared about Monique and wanted to help Monique, they would have, called the police on the brother, had him arrested for what he did to Monique. But that never happened. So all these years, this has been brewing with her and Oprah. And this podcast that Monique did, she talked about her and Oprah having a conversation about that interview that Oprah did with Monique's family. And Monique said, she told Oprah, I thought you were my sister. I thought you were my friend. How could you do that to me? You know? And basically, Oprah didn't have an answer because Oprah knew she was wrong. She knew she was wrong. Her and that girl had sat down, shared stories about, being molested and how it affected them and what happened in the family and how, their molestation caused them to have problems with their family, have problems in life, the whole nine, And I just don't understand why people want Monique to apologize to Oprah after what Oprah did to her. Now, Monique said that Oprah came to her and said something like this: I apologize if you think that I did something wrong to you. That is not an apology, y'all. The reason why Oprah came to Monique is because she knew she had done something wrong to Monique. So she should have started off that apology with simply, I'm sorry. You're right. I did this for ratings. I'm sorry. Because that whole interview that Oprah did with Monique's family, it was purely for ratings. You know, Oprah Winfrey, I have blown cold and hot with her over the years. I applaud her for some of the good things that she has done. You can't take that from her. But what I don't like about Oprah is that it's all about the story for her. In some instances, she doesn't have any integrity. Another interview that I thought Oprah was so wrong in doing, and that was the interview that she did with Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina, 3 months after Whitney Houston died. Now, Whitney Houston's mom, Cissy Houston, she told Oprah, I didn't appreciate that interview that you did with my granddaughter. It was too soon. She was very much deep into grieving her mother, and she was, 19 years old. Why? Why, Oprah? Why would you do that? Cissy Houston told her. And I agree with Cissy Houston because when I looked at that interview with Bobby Christina, she wouldn't even actually sit down and talk to Oprah. It was almost like Bobby Christina was walking through the room and Oprah just hemmed her up and started asking her all these questions. That child, that young lady, was grieving her mother. She didn't want to do no damn interview. And for Pat Houston and Gary Houston to agree to an interview, you know, right after Whitney Houston had died, within 3 months of her death. It was all for publicity for them. It was a self-serving interview. You know, Oprah called. See, a lot of people get caught up in that Oprah thing. Oprah can be very persuasive when she's going after a story. This is Monique's parents, y'all, in the audience that day that um, Oprah interviewed Monique's brother Gerald. All I can say about this story, y'all, is this. I don't feel, and this is my opinion, because I watched that show that Oprah did, that interview that Oprah did with Monique's brother. I don't feel Monique owes Oprah anything as far as an apology. Oprah should be apologizing for what she did to Monique's family that day when she did that interview. Because like I said, Oprah was not doing that, you know, to for anything other than, you know, good ratings for her show. That's all it was about, y'all. And then, people have forgotten that because this is the almighty Oprah. And then on that show, y'all, her brother Gerald, I don't know about him, y'all. I don't know about him. He is a pedophile. And like I said, one of his first victims was his 7-year-old little sister. When you're 7, you're in the second grade. She was a baby when he started molesting her. And that shit went on for years. And Monique finally, at the age of 15, got enough courage to tell her parents, her family. And then they only sent him away for 2 weeks and then brought him back into the home. And life went on like nothing happened. And Oprah knew all this, y'all, because Monique told her. She told her in phone conversations. She told her when they were one-on-one together. In this situation, Oprah was a bitch, y'all. She was a bitch. I remember watching that interview. I remember after the interview went off, my mother calling me saying, "Girl, did you see that shit?" Monique's family is a mess, y'all. Dysfunctional. Secrets. Pedophile in the family. Molestation in the family. Monique wanted to tell her truth, but she didn't want to parade her family members out there and for them to get any type of monetary benefit for what the hurt that Monique endured. See, you got to understand, when her family was doing this, people were, probably offering them money to tell the story. Monique didn't want that because that was blood money. That money was only offered because Monique was hurt as a child. Y'all, this whole situation is sad. And, as far as Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels, that's a whole nother story. I heard just recently that Monique and Tyler had a conversation over the phone and they kind of squashed their beef. Monique got a chance to tell him what she felt about him and how she was treated. And Tyler Perry knows where Monique stands. And I guess they were able to talk out some of their difficulties. Now, Lee Daniels is going to be another story because y'all know how he is. But getting back to Oprah, I don't like Oprah when it comes to Monique. She did Monique wrong, y'all. And I tried to find that actual show where Oprah interviewed Monique's brother. You can't find the actual show online. Now, I believe if someone was out there and had time to really search, they could find it, but I just couldn't. I only found this little bitty clip of Monique's brother on that Oprah show that day, and I'm going to put it down in the description box. Now, y'all, this is the end of the video, but I want to ask y'all, How do you feel about this Oprah Monique thing? After hearing all of the details of why Monique went off on Oprah, it's deep rooted. It goes back to that interview that Oprah did with Monique's family. How do you feel about it? You know, how do you feel about what she did to Monique? And then thought Monique wasn't supposed to get in her feelings about it. Can you understand that? Monique thought Oprah was her friend. And Monique played, I'm sorry, Oprah played her, went right behind her back and brought everybody on. Basically, to me, it seems like Oprah was just calling Monique, to let her know that her brother was coming on and had that conversation with her, and then decided after the conversation to go ahead and bring the whole family on. It was like she was fishing for information. That's what I felt like when I saw Monique's podcast. Y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think. Oprah Winfrey was wrong, y'all. And with that, y'all, this is the end of the video. Thanks as always for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.